President Trump tweeting that attorney-client privilege is dead after the FBI searched the office of his personal attorney, Michael Cohen. Joining us now to discuss the state of this investigation, Republican Senator John Kennedy of Louisiana, a member of the Judiciary Committee. Always good to see you, Senator.
Same here, Chris.
So what do you make of the president saying that this search applied through a warrant to a federal judge is an attack on the country and a demonstration of complete unfairness and a witch hunt?
Well, the president's entitled to his opinion. The truth is, none of us know. We have a rule of law, part of which is legal procedure. As best I can tell, that procedure has been followed. Everything else, frankly, is just speculation. I know there have been some leaks from the law enforcement authorities. Frankly, I wish that wouldn't happen. But we just got to let this play out. I said from the beginning that we have a system of laws. A special counsel was appointed. The special counsel has to be allowed to do his job. Once he's done, he needs to report the facts to the American people. If somebody does something wrong, they should be held accountable. Let the chips fall where they may. But we've got to finish the process. It's painful. I don't blame the president for feeling like it's unfair. I think that's a normal human reaction. But we've got to let the process complete.
Right. I mean, of course, the president has his right to say whatever he wants. I'm saying, is it right to attack institutions of democracy? What would you do if the president took steps to remove Mueller?
Chris, I don't think that's going to happen.
What if it did?
I know what the president has said, but the president's management style is to manage out loud. That's not the way I would do it, but that's his management style.
What if he did take the step?
I'm not going to speculate on something that I don't think will happen. I think the president is too smart to do that, number one. Number two, I think it would provoke some sort of a reaction by Congress. I think he knows that. And number three, you know, the president can't just fire Mr. Mueller. He's got to direct Mr. Rosenstein to
That's why I said
fire
take
him.
steps.
And I don't think Mr. Rosenstein would do it.
You don't? Well, so then he'd get fired. Look, we lived through this in the past, right? Eventually, he would find somebody, in all likelihood, to do what he wanted.
It would not end this, and I think the president knows that. And while I think he is entitled to vent, I just really don't expect that to happen.
Right. Maybe, maybe not. Right. I mean, it depends who we put in there. I mean, the president does have almost complete authority to end investigations, even if he's involved himself. You mentioned congressional action. You really believe that your party would move on its own president in a political process and vote to impeach him?
Well, I was listening to your comments earlier this morning, Chris, and I thought you made a salient point. If the president makes a decision like that, and again, I think he's too smart to do that, in a way, it would mean that Congress would own it, as well as the president, because it would put Congress in a position of having to act, and not acting would be an act. So, but I just don't think it's going to happen. I don't think the president will do it, and I don't think it should be done. This is a painful process. But in the end, I hope we can look back and say, well, it was worth it. We got the facts, and we'll let the chips fall where they may.
All right. You mentioned that Congress sometimes can act by not acting. Let's move on to our next topic, especially in light of the increasingly heated talk about what to do in Syria. Do you believe that Congress should authorize whatever plan is devised by the generals and the commander-in-chief?
You know, Syria, the pictures of those kids, I mean, it just breaks your heart.
It should.
I mean, Assad is a butcher. And Putin and the Iranian Ayatollah are butchers for letting him do it. We can't let it go unanswered. If we do, our friends won't trust us and our enemies won't respect us. But I'm sending a letter to Senator McConnell today. I would like a classified briefing from our Secretary of Defense and our Joint Chiefs about the status in Syria. I think the president has asked some very good questions. You know, what is our objective there? Why are we there? What's the status on the ground? Is ISIS gone? Look, I do not know why bad things happen to good people in this world. If I make it to heaven, I'm going to ask. But I don't know that America can stop all bad things happening in the world, especially in the Middle East. We've spent $6 trillion since 2001 in the Middle East.
A lot of lives,
That's a third of our debt. I'm not saying it wasn't money well spent, But now's a pretty good time to stop and say, okay, what is our objective here, and are we achieving it?
Right.
Some of my colleagues say, oh, it's the domino theory. It's the domino theory. If we leave, another domino will fall. Well, we heard that in Vietnam, too.
Look, Senator, and it's interesting. The War Powers Act was devised coming out of Vietnam, right? 1973, yes. To find a different way to have a president have to report. And now many of your colleagues in both parties are relying on that in the AUMF and saying, so the president can do what he wants. I don't see the legal argument for that. I don't see it in those two pieces of statutory authority. My question to you is, you raise a lot of interesting issues. Shouldn't you guys have to debate and own whatever course is taken as an extension of your constitutional authority, and one that has been frankly punted on for several administrations now?
Yes, unconditionally, yes. But we don't have to do it in an adversarial way.
No, I'm just saying debate and vote so that the people who put you in office can say, I know what he knew, I know what he did, and now he will be weighed and measured. Because that hasn't happened. Not in the last one, not when Obama went to Libya, not what we saw with way back with Clinton. You guys keep punting on this. Will it be different this time?
I think you're right. But it starts with the facts. And we really do need a classified briefing about what's going on the ground. What was Putin's involvement? Was the Ayatollah involved? Do we want to overthrow Assad? It doesn't look to me like that's our objective. We were told our objective was to get rid of ISIS. Is ISIS gone? I mean, these are fair questions, for us to work through with the president.
Absolutely.
Congress certainly has a role.
Absolutely.
It doesn't have to be adversarial, nor should it.
That's right. But it should be open and transparent, and you should be on the record. That's all I'm saying.
At some point, the president is going to have to give an address to the nation and say, let's talk about our involvement in the Middle East, in Iraq, in Syria, in Yemen, in terms of the Iranians. Here's where we are. Here's why we're there. Here's our objective. Here's how long. Right now, it could change, but we think it will take. The American people deserve to know that.
Absolutely.
Money's not everything, but we have spent $6 trillion, a third of our debt, since 2001. And those are very fair questions to ask.
Right. Well, and I'm more concerned about the American blood. You got thousands on the ground there right now. We'll see which way that process goes. We'll stay on it very closely. Let me ask you quickly about Facebook. Do you believe, heading into these discussions, that there is a chance that coming out of them, depending on what you hear, you will push for regulation of Facebook and other entities like it?
Hope we don't need to, but it's possible. I come in peace. I don't want to have to regulate Facebook, but clearly our digital promised land has minefields. Look, Facebook is big and powerful. I'm not against big. I'm against dumb. And right now it's Facebook first and people second. I think it ought to be the opposite. I think people make Facebook the money. And I think Facebook has an obligation, moral if not legal, to protect our data and to stop the spreading of poison on the internet. Now, that raises another question. What's poison? You get off into First Amendment issues. But what I want to hear from Mr. Zuckerberg today, I don't want to hear I'm responsible. We know he's responsible. I don't want to be lobbied by Mr. Zuckerberg. He's welcome to visit with me, but I just want him to hear him say 3 words. I'm on it. Here's what I'm going to do. I will come back in 6 months and tell you what I have done. And I'll come back in 6 months after that to give you another progress report.
All right.
This isn't going away.
All right. Understood. Senator Kennedy, always a pleasure to have you on the show. Thank you for making the case to the American people.
Yeah, Chris.
Allison.
I like quoting him for the rest of the day. I'm against dumb, he said.
I'm not against big. I'm against dumb. So big and dumb, that's tough. I've been living that way my whole life.
That's a bad
I took that from you. That's all right.